I'm back with another one. Season 4, Episode 3, Westworld. We're progressing in the story. We got another good one. Another informative episode. Each episode is very informative. They make good use of the time. I guess you titled the episode Annie's Follis. Somebody in the comment help me out with the title. What is that title a reference to? Bernard embarks on a mission to save humanity while Maeve and Caleb visit Gangland. You know, which we know Gangland is just AKA Chicago in the 1920s. And I really like that town. You know, it's very, for one thing, it highlights an era that I'm fond of, which is the Art Deco era. And I should have worn me some Art Deco attire to commemorate the town Gangland that they created, which I like. Is a really good town. The first thing I noticed about Gangland in that park is notice the similarities between Sweetwater in season 1 and Gangland that they created, which they created in the same place. And just a side note, the set that they film on is the same set where they had Sweetwater for season 1. And I'm gonna tell you, man, it was like going down memory lane for season 1. This episode with everything that they did for Gangland, they took it from Sweetwater, the previous part, which was Westworld. They took it from there, and the first thing we noticed was like all the Dolores storyline where she drops the can and then Teddy picks it up. So you had the fake Dolores and the fake Teddy, but you know, remember she told Maeve, she told Caleb, don't pick up that can, because if you pick up the can, it starts the side mission with Dolores. And of course, you know, you had the 1920 saloon, you know, where the 1920 saloon, they call it, I forgot what they call it, but you know, it means butterfly. Just like the previous saloon in Westworld, it meant butterfly. So you know they had a saloon in some other world that you went in. It's a nice touch by the writers, and they pretty much named the saloon the same name, which is Butterfly. They just put it in a different language or however they do it, you know. And we saw it was just a nice, this episode pretty much just, and the Gangland, it pays homage to season 1. You know, when Maeve and Caleb went underground. We saw the massacre reenactment of when Dolores came in and she shot up the underground facilities of Westworld. We got to see that. It was just great reminiscing. Finally, we get to see exactly what is the relationship with the flies in this show. What's going on with these flies? You know, we finally got to see that in the underground facility of Gangland and all this research that they doing with the flies and stuff. We really got to finally see that. Basically, the flies, they get these maggots. It's disgusting. You see them, they get these maggots, and the maggots, they feed on something. They get some type of parasite in the maggot. And the parasite gets in the maggot, and the flies, they carry the parasite into the humans. And when the humans get infected with the parasite, you know, they have this dark blood in them. But when they get infected with the parasite, they send out some type of signal. They're able to control the humans with the parasite in their brain. And when they're ready for the human to kill themselves, they send out some type of frequency. And the frequency that most humans can't hear the frequency. And the frequency gets the human to kill themselves. That now we understood what was going on in episode 1 with the gang leader, with the cartel leader, whatever, at the Hoover Dam, how they was able to take over his mind and get him to go in and kill his associates and then kill himself. Remember, he went home and saw the flies on top of the ceiling. And basically, you know that a human is infected with the parasite when they bleed out black blood, when the blood is real dark and black looking. Remember the senator's wife when she was in the horse stall tearing them horses up, and they shot her in the head and she had that black blood come out of her head? She was infected with the parasite. Notice in the research facility in this episode when they went underground and they shot and they got the human subjects to shoot themselves in the head. One of them guys that shot himself in the head was that government official that came to Delos. And was it episode 2 or 1? They came to Delos and he wanted to talk to the head of the Delos company. And then when he went to the car, hell came in the car and put a gun to his head or something, and they put the fly in the fly flew in his eyeball and took his head. Well, he ended up shooting himself at the head. It looked like him. That was one of the research. I don't know if you caught that. It looked like the guy that worked for the Homeland Security or the anti-terrorist government division of the government, Secretary of Defense or something he is. They look like him that shot himself in the head. It was one of the test subjects that they made shoot themselves in the head. You know what? That was him. There was that Secretary of Defense or whatever he was that came to Delos. That white guy, that was him that shot himself. That was the real him. So going forward in future episodes, we're going to probably see a robot version of him. They replaced him just like they replaced the vice president with a robot. Yeah, see, man, Westworld, man, you got to pick it up as you go, man. This stuff is, man, that's the thing about this show, man. It really makes us, it keeps us thinking, man. You never going to figure all this stuff out, man. You ain't going to never figure it out, man. We get to see Bernard. And he wakes up in like the program world that they have a lot of the robots in this little program world. Remember season 3, we learned about the program world the imaginary world that they have the robots stored in. They're the little balls. They take the little balls as their brain and put it into like this storage facilities where they all at, and they're in like this imaginary land place. You know, he sits down with the Indian guy. It looks like him. It looks like Neo and Morpheus sitting down on the Matrix 1 in this white room. And the Indian guy explains to Bernard what's going on. You're in a simulation. And, you know, Bernard decides to leave the simulation and go back to the real world to save the humans, to help the humans. And remember, Bernard was talking about he's went over all the different scenarios and outcomes, and every outcome he ends up dying. So what's going on there? All of the robots are in a simulation. They're being stored in a simulation, like all those robots they got from Westworld back in the day. And just all of their robots are in storage. Of course, they get other than the ones that they have in the Chicago world, well, gangland, but it's based off Chicago in the 1920s with Al Capone in them. But other than those robots and stuff, and of course, you know, the hidden robots that Hell got, she got over 200 hidden robots walking in the real world. But all those robots, that's what I'm calling them, they have to be, they're in a storage. They're in a fake simulation. They just had the little ball in somewhere in a fake simulation. And what's going on is they're all running, they're going through their loops in the fake simulation. And they're going through the loops over and over again, and they're trying different outcomes in the loops that they're in. So what they're doing is all the different simulations, they're sending it to Bernard. Okay, but this is why Bernard can kind of quote unquote predict the future. Remember when Stubbs and Bernard was at the cafe, and the waitress made a mistake and spilt her drink and Bernard already had the napkin where she was spilling the drink. See, y'all didn't catch that, did you? Go back and watch it. When they went in that cafe, the lady, oh, I'm sorry, she spilled his coffee, and Bernard already had the paper towel where the lady spilled the coffee, and he just took a second paper towel and set on top. He already caught the spill because he knew she was gonna spill the coffee, because that was another simulation. That was a pathway of that's one of the simulation paths. So the host, they're sending all the different simulations to Bernard. This is why he's able to kind of predict the future. If you notice, when he left outside of the cafe, he went outside and punched and beat those guys by himself. If you remember Bernard back in season 3, when he was working at the meat plant, he was working at the meat packing plant, and he was blending in as a human being, but he really was a host. When he had to fight people, he had to get real violent, and he was over violent and was really aggressive. But if you notice this time, Bernard is finessing them two guys. Them guys can't touch him. Why? Because Bernard already knows what the guys are going, which way they're going to punch or what they're going to do before they swing the punch. And he didn't even need Stubbs' help. Stubb was still inside the cafe drinking him some robot coffee and some robot Danish. And Bernard was out there kicking butt. He took them guys, cut the man head off, and put the man in the trunk with no problem, because he already knew the moves that the guys were going to make. And he knew the woman was pulling up to meet up with those guys, and he was able to get in the car with the woman. And remember, the woman pointed both her guns at them, and he told the woman, he's going to take your gun, and he took her gun. And he's going out there, and the woman takes them to the desert because they're looking for something. And Bernard's telling them, guys, it's a weapon out here buried in this sand. I know where it's at. I'm going to help you get it for you, because it's a simulation. Bernard already knows the path. So we're going to be watching this season, which I think is really interesting and awesome. We're going to be watching the season where Bernard is going to be going through the path, and he's going to be changing things and maneuvering through a path that he already knows. Like, he already knows what's going to happen. The way I see it, well, what's going on with Bernard right now, he has all these simulations and all this information from the other hosts sending him the information. I'm sending him all the simulations that they went through. But it's like all these hosts and what's going on, and Bernard, they've went, it's like they're playing a video game. This is a shout out to my other channel, Air Joystick. Go to my video game channel called Air Joystick. It's on my homepage of this channel. Click on it and subscribe. But that was brought to you by Air Joystick Gaming Channel. But it's like playing a video game, and you're on a level of a video game, and you play this level over and over again. But each time you play it in a different order, you take a different path, and you take a different path, and you might get and you end up getting a different outcome. So that's kind of what Bernard and the host have already done. That's why Bernard knows all these different outcomes, because the hosts have done so many different simulations over and over again. This is why Bernard knows the future. He already knows like what's going to happen. You see? So this is going to be interesting, to say the least. Moving on to predictions. So hey man, we're just on episode 3, man. Are they doing 8 or 10 episodes? I don't know. Either way, we still got a long ways to go, man. And I'm gonna tell you, man, here's the thing. I knew that girl was a trap. I knew that wasn't his real daughter when he was running in there. He really fell for it. To me, it seem like Caleb but Caleb ain't that smart though. And May found out that she was fake, that really wasn't his daughter and it was a trap. But May should have caught on to that quicker. That's my only thing. I expect Caleb not to know no better, because he's emotional. He misses his daughter. So I could expect Caleb to fall for that trap of that robot daughter. a robo daughter. But Maeve should have caught that sooner, man. And then, oh yeah, and the Man in Black the Man in Black robot showed up. The psychopath version of Man in Black. So we got a regular Man in Black, William, and then we got a psychopath robot version of William, the one that killed the original William, but he's back alive, the original William. But anyway, don't get me started with that. But anyway, so his daughter is caught. Right? I mean, so the robot daughter released the flies. They catch Caleb and release the flies. So now hell is going to be controlling Caleb. And this is going to be interesting. So it looks like hell is probably going to have Caleb working for her, working for the robots and working on her side. Now, to me, this is interesting because if you remember, hell, who's running everything and trying to turn all the humans into their pets, and they're trying to she's basically doing the Terminator over again. She's trying to take over. There's machines are trying to take over. She's leading the machine takeover. If you remember, hell is a copy of the original Dolores. So she has all the memories of Dolores, right? Do you remember when Caleb was working for the army in season 3? And they were doing army simulations with the robots. And some of the players, I mean, not players, but some of the human soldiers, they wanted to have that. They were trying to have in their way with the female robots. You know, they weren't just doing training simulations. They were doing some sexual simulations. That was kind of what was hinted at in the scene in season 3. But remember, Caleb went and stopped the soldier robots from raping. Well, can you rape a robot? I don't know, but raping the Dolores robot that was part of the simulation. Go back, it's season 3. I don't know if you remember that, but so I'm wondering, since hell is a copy of the original Dolores, and I'm pretty sure she probably has Dolores's memories. So I wonder, does she remember Caleb being a friend and looking out for Dolores like that? And I wonder, is that going to come into play going forward and towards the end of the season when everything hits the fan with Caleb, working for hell? Because now Caleb is on their side. She got them flies up in them, and this is going to be interesting. I'm going to just tell you right now, I don't think Caleb's going to make it out alive. I don't think Caleb's going to make it out alive, and I think it's for the better. Because Caleb, even though they've abolished the robots in the real world, Caleb is still working the same old job he was working back when Rehoboth was mapping out everybody's lives. So I don't know. I think this is the second season, and we've seen Caleb. He's kind of went through his arc. I don't think Caleb gonna make it out of this, but we'll see. Them flies and got up in them, the parasites and got up in them. So we're gonna see, and I'm gonna be interested to see what weapon does Bernard dig out of the desert. We're gonna be looking forward to that. What is this weapon, and what does Bernard dig out of the desert? This super weapon. We gotta see what's going on with that. It's looking good. HBO. Hey man, when they make a good show, man, they do a good job, man. You got to give it to HBO and the writers. They spare no expense, and they really give you a good show. And we only 3 episodes in, and it's looking good. If you're still here, you're a real one. If you still watching, because this has been a longer episode than usual. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share this with a friend, comment, tell me what you're thinking, okay? And until next time.